Hi, welcome to Fox 8 Extra. I'm Stefani Schaefer. Thank you for being with us. Life, as we all know, can change in a second, and we all know that, but really, truly, until you've lived it or experienced something traumatic, you really don't understand just how true that really is. And my guest today dealt with an unthinkable tragedy. They made it through, thanks mostly in part to their faith and their strong unity and bond. Please welcome Melissa Harris and her husband, Mike. They took their young family hiking back in Hocking Hills. It was the year of 2020, and you know what was happening that time. It was the height of COVID, and they thought that this would be a safe family getaway. But during that hike in Hocking Hills, a tree branch, a big one, fell, and it struck their 4-year-old daughter, Mia, in the head. And we want you to know right off the bat, Mia survived, and she is alive and thriving, thank God. But it was a long and terrifying recovery. And now this family wants to share their story, and they wrote a book to help others keep faith, even in the darkest of hours. So please welcome Melissa and Mike Harris. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, congratulations on the book, and it's really going to serve as a great inspiration for so many people out there, and families especially, going through traumatic times. Walk us through that day in 2020. We're in COVID, as I mentioned, and you have 3 kids, 3 young kids, and you just wanted to do something fun with them. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about what happened.
Do you want to go?
Sure, yeah. Obviously, the middle of COVID, right? Even a heightened political season as well. The election was right around the corner as well. So just chaos, right? Mm-hmm. You know, with my job, we're still trying to figure things out, and we decided that it was a needed getaway for our family. So we decided, we love Hocking Hills. It's beautiful down there, terrain, just hiking. We were so excited for it. So decided to get away end of October, and didn't think anything of it other than just wanted to get away and be in the elements and get away from the city and hike and just spend some time with family. So yeah.
So the day of the incident, we had hiked for a couple days, and that morning it was raining a lot, so we had to take a break. Mm-hmm. And we were debating, should we go back to the cabin or should we take another hike, and chose to take another hike. So almost all the way at the end of the hike, right before the waterfalls inside the gorge, we had just taken pictures by a cave, and Mike was ahead with the kids, and he was hiking down the trail. I was with my brother Scott. We were just talking and walking slowly. So all 3 of them, I remember seeing all 3 of them, the kids and him, bound around the corner. And then just in a moment, I just heard Mike say, "Oh, Mia." Mm. And there was just something about the way he said it. Mm-hmm. I mean, Scott and I just looked at each other.
You know that terror in somebody's voice.
So we just took off running and got around that corner. And he had already picked her up off the ground and was holding her. And in that instant, seeing what she looked like, just lifeless, there was that immediate moment of she's gone. Mm.
So you guys were walking, and Mia's 4 years old at the time, and your other 2 kids, they're a little older, right?
Yep.
How old are they now? How old were they at the time?
So Micah was 6, and then Mariah was 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're young, and now it's their baby sister. Was it at that moment all panic? And no, I mean, because I'm sure you're all startled and stunned and terrified and traumatized. How are the kids, the older 2 siblings? I could imagine that was just such a terrifying moment for them too.
Yeah, I think at the moment, or at that time, they were confused. They weren't sure what was going on, to be honest.
And scared, right?
Yeah, and it was one of those moments for us too as parents where we're laser focused on our daughter and not even sure where the kids are at this point, because they're there.
Yeah, true. And you're also like, I think at that moment when I was looking at your book, you take the family out to like get them out of the world that's been so chaotic lately, and then you probably felt so terrifying because now you're so far away from any emergency help too. So like what started out to be such a beautiful experience, to get our family out and expose them to nature and be together on this now that was like probably
completely
the worst thing
flipped on its head. And so I think kind of like what he was saying, it all just in that moment we thought she was gone, and then she let out this awful scream, However, it meant she was alive. So
Yeah.
it was just this moment of go, like run, go get help.
Yeah.
And so then he handed her to me, and it was like looked at her just one last minute, and then just took off, and just hearing him scream help. You know, it's like
So you went
it's like
running
people.
for-
Yeah. The original plan was, because we had no cell service, we're surrounded by
Yeah.
just this gorge, 200-foot gorge, and my plan was to run and try to get to the car, get as high as. So here I am leaving my family. It's a terrible spot to be in. I'm so conflicted that I want to be there to help. However, we needed to get some help there, get the EMS there as quickly as possible. So when I think the trail was probably about a half mile in. I had gotten maybe a quarter of a mile in, and I'm huffing and puffing. I'm not spring like I used to be back in the day being a runner. And I just remember to myself, I'm like, I am jogging right now. My daughter's life is on the line, and I'm jogging. And then I had to remember that I was fidgeting with my iPhone a few days earlier and hitting the power button. And when you hit it 5 times, it comes up with this SOS, this emergency SOS feature. And of course, I'm thinking, maybe this is going to work, but I don't know if it will, just based on our circumstances and where we are. And sure enough, it worked, and we had a crystal clear service for about 20 to 25 minutes.
Yeah, it took about 27 minutes. I think he was on the phone with EMS.
Thank
God. It was crystal clear for that entire time. And we, of course, realized in the moment that the worst thing that we could have done was pick her up.
I was going to ask you that, because in a moment like that, and at that, but I understand also that's that natural instinct to swoop up your child and hold them. But so the tree branch hit her in the head.
And we didn't know at that point. We really didn't know.
I don't know if you did. I didn't.
I knew that a tree branch had hit her, but we didn't know where.
Where on her body.
Yeah. Because her hair is so big and curly, it masked. And she had a hat on for a while too. So once I took the hat off, and probably still another 10 minutes later, it took me that long. So I'm looking at her, I'm seeing all of her symptoms, and what happened? I still really didn't know what had happened.
How long had she been there, or I guess how long was it before she let out that scream that you were saying, and I was reading in the book, like
Maybe
she
30
felt
seconds.
lifeless to you guys.
Probably 30
maybe,
to 45
yeah.
seconds somewhere, which felt longer.
Felt
than
like
that.
an eternity.
Yeah.
But once she made the scream, once she ended up having the scream, we're somewhat relieved because she's alive, right? And then after I had contact with the authorities there, I ran back. Of course, she's probably like, "What are you doing coming back?" And I'm like, "Sweetie, I'm on the phone with 911. You need to put her on the ground because this could be spinal. It could be something with her back." So, of course, put her on the ground, and it's cold. We didn't even really think about that until, in hindsight, how cold it was
they talk
outside.
about
So
how
to just
cold actually
put
she
her
was.
to put her on the
Which
ground
may have been a
So,
good thing. But it was hard to lay her down. And that was definitely, and of course, in my head, I'm like, oh, I messed up. Like, we messed up. We shouldn't have picked her up. But from what I understand, she was laying face down. I didn't see her. I don't think any parent would think.
No, you can't prepare yourself for stuff like that.
No.
And
And like I said, I don't even think we thought she was alive.
Yeah.
So, but it was the right move to lay her down.
100%, right.
And that's when I was able to start assessing her body. I was looking everywhere for bruising, anything. And then finally, I saw it look like you cut a softball in half and put it on her head. And that was the moment that I think, for me, it was like, she doesn't stand a chance.
And she would breathe, probably let you inhale and exhale maybe every.
So to answer your question about the kids, a couple was hiking, they came to help. They ended up taking Mariah and Micah out to the parking lot.
I mean,
Which-
and here you are now, you're trusting
Which was a
complete
blessing, I
strangers
know.
for that,
but in the moment, it was just awful because I've got her that I'm not sure she's going to survive. I've got my other 2 kids that I'm sending off with strangers.
Wow.
And that was probably the most difficult part, to just be there myself in the woods with her. And pretty much just thinking about the 4 years that she's had. And assuming that I was, sending her off to Jesus.
Oh. Now, when 911, you call them, and then when the emergency crews came, were they able to get to her?
Yeah, I mean.
Because you were far away.
There was only one path in and one path out. So an ODNR officer had come, looked at her, assessed her, and immediately it was bad. Like
Yeah.
you could tell that this was a bad situation, but quickly, I mean, they were able to get everyone there, get almost like this little wheelbarrow.
Yeah, had like
kind
one
of
wheel so they can
contraption.
run with it.
Yeah,
a gurney
you know,
with
back
one
there,
wheel.
yep, to put her in there.
So I
yep.
think what I understand later was I think it was actually the fire department that got there first. So they got her on it, and then about halfway, the EMS was able to they met in the middle, and then ran her out to the parking lot.
Yeah.
So that was even worse, to no longer, I mean, truly not be in control.
Yeah.
When they ran off with her, you know.
So then when they took her to the hospital, that's when you found out the extent of all of the injuries that she had. What did you guys find out?
Initially, we just found out that she had, once we confirmed that she was still alive, when we got to Nationwide Children's, she had fractures of her skull.
Yep.
I found out she had 5 compression fractures of her lower vertebrae.
Yeah.
So that's how hard she was hit in the impact. But the surgeon said no surgery tonight. And that was very confusing. It's like, how are you not doing something, you know? And his response was interesting. He said, sometimes it's better to just let the human body do what it's supposed to do.
Interesting.
Yeah. So next morning, less than 24 hours later,
She's intubated.
She's
at this point.
intubated
Yeah,
at this point,
'cause,
yeah.
they just didn't trust
So-
that she could breathe on her own.
Yeah.
they said that they were going to try to remove the tube and see if she would breathe on her own. And I can't even explain how perplexed we were that they were talking about already trying to take her off that and see if so that was the moment of truth. She was alive. Would she know us? Would she remember us? Would she have life-altering injuries? So I don't know if you want to tell that part.
So, longest night of our lives, right? You know, and here's this moment of truth where they're going to go ahead and pull the intubation tube out, and I never will forget. It wasn't much longer after that. You know, here we are waiting for her to wake up. If she wakes up again, is this going to be our Mia? And we hear this little voice, and she says, "I peed in my pull-up." And it's because she hates that feeling. But we knew. It's Mia. She hates this feeling. She's coherent. She can feel something. Like I mean, just the joy and everyone swarming the hospital bed. I couldn't keep it together. One of the nurses, they're like, "Come on, Dad, keep it together." I'm like, "I can't keep it together." You know, we just didn't. I mean, the night before, it all appeared to be inevitable. And the more that we've learned over the years, it seems like this shouldn't have been. At least there's not much of a medical explanation of how and why. You know.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely got your miracle. Just absolutely incredible. And you know, you sometimes wonder, why are we being tested? And you were already a faith-filled family, very close to God and to Jesus, and so, but this even restored your faith, renewed your faith even more. And maybe that's why you got the miracle too, because now you can share this with so many people and help them as they navigate these traumas in their life. We're going to talk a lot about that. We know that their faith played such a big role in their recovery for the whole family. We're going to tell you more about that when Fox 8 Extra returns. Stay with us. Welcome back to Fox 8 Extra. I'm joined today by Mike and Melissa Harris, a local couple whose hiking trip with their 3 young children turned tragic when a large branch fell on their 4-year-old daughter, Mia, and it nearly killed her. But we're talking about Mia's miraculous recovery, their incredibly strong faith, and a lot of all of this is in Melissa's new book called Rewrite This Tragedy, and it focuses on faith. It's here. We're going to tell you where you can get it. But I thank you both for sharing this just courageous and inspirational story. Let's talk about Mia now. This was back in 2020, the accident in Hocking Hills, and now we're 5 years later. She's doing great.
I'm about to celebrate her 9th birthday.
Oh my gosh. I mean, and I'm sure too, every day probably feels to you, as it should, a bonus day.
Yeah.
that you get your little baby girl, because that really almost didn't happen.
Yeah. Whenever we're complaining about something, it's so easy to have what we believe this walking miracle in our home, this testament of faith, and we're like, all right, things aren't so bad, right? Like, let's put perspective, another day that we get with our kids to raise them and love them and appreciate them, even when they do frustrate us, because they're children, and we love them, but they're awesome.
Well, for a while we wanted to spoil her so much.
Oh,
you know,
of course.
like,
I'm
she's here,
sure.
and
I'm
like,
sure even
okay,
the siblings
we have
too.
to raise a good kid. Right? We can't just give her everything she wants all the time. You know? So there was a challenge there.
Yeah.
What is she like? What is she involved with in school? And she's the baby of the family.
She's
of
the
two
baby of
older
the family.
siblings.
She's the baby, all right. So yeah. She's extremely bright. She's definitely, I feel like, out of the three, seems to be the one that just naturally, she's academic, but can be frustrating to try to get her to do things. And she's athletic and she's spunky, a little attitude. She's beautiful.
So bubbly and happy. I think joy. Joy. She just seems to exhibit joy.
Yeah, she's amazing, and like I said, it's just a privilege and honor that we get to raise her, and we get another crack at it. So,
I love to hear that. Does she remember? Maybe not the incident. Does she remember that day? Does she remember being in the hospital at all?
She remembers the hospital, and she remembers all good things. The only thing she complains about were the finger pricks. She got a lot of them to test her blood because her oxygen level was low, her hemoglobin was low. But she remembers all good things. So you ask her about it, I rode the bike through the hallway and I had a tent bed, and she remembers the names of all of her stuffed animals that she had that people gave. So all of it to her is good.
See, isn't that amazing? And that's so worthwhile noting. And you mentioned like riding a little thing through the hallway and the stuffed animals and the tent bed. And so when we do these events and charities that you're thinking about to make hospitals a lot less scary for kids and more comforting and welcoming, that's what she remembers is amazing. And that's because of so many people's generosity to help support the things that we do for kids. And that's why we get involved with St. Jude too, because I've been there and it's such a sad place, but it's as best as it can possibly be. And you guys were at Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus. I mean, it really truly means, I know Cleveland Clinic and Children's and University Hospitals Rainbow Babies does a lot too to make these kids feel like it's a lot less scary. And that's a blessing that's what she remembers most about that experience.
Yeah.
And how are your older two kids doing?
They're great.
They're awesome. It's
because that's tough too. Now, how long was Mia in the hospital for?
3.5 weeks.
3.5 weeks. So now you also have up here where your other two kids now up here with family, I'm assuming.
That was probably the most traumatizing thing for them. Obviously, the initial scare. I was a stay-at-home mom. I also homeschooled, and all of a sudden, just in a moment, they're torn away from us and then gone for 3.5 weeks. And because it was during COVID, they couldn't visit. They couldn't come see Mia. Zoom was the only way that we could see them, and of course they would come visit, and I'd go to Panera and spend an hour
outside
with
of the
them.
hospital. Yeah.
But that I think was the most difficult thing for them. Yeah. Once we got past the initial Mia's alive and she's okay.
And after a couple weeks, finally, the neurosurgeon had a dad-to-dad talk with me of like, hey, this is weeks long, months long. You need to go home and be dad. In a very, very gentle way, under the circumstances.
He's like, go home.
But he's like, you need to go home and be dad to your other two kids here and know that this is going to be some time.
But I do think she surprised everybody
at
how quickly we were on the 6 days or something. We were on the physical therapy floor, and she. By the end of the 6 days, she was graduated, walking upstairs, riding bikes.
She had suffered paralysis on the left side of her body, so
It's amazing though when they're young how quickly and with the therapy that they do can really help truly with these. And I was reminded of that when my husband was in the hospital for so long, saying, because I needed to be there for every second and think that you can do something to fix them and help. And the doctors would say the same thing to me, like, we've got him and he's in a safe place and there's nothing, unfortunately, that you can do at this point. Sure. And my kids were young and saying, like, spend a little more time outside of the hospital, which was hard to do because you don't want to miss a second. You want to be there every single minute. Yeah. Talk about your faith and how that really truly got you through, because, I always felt like, at least with mine, I felt that it would be disrespectful to ever question God because, you know, we're put on this earth, and I just never wanted to say why God. I just felt like I could never say that or even think that. And you're trying to be there for, I was trying to be there and being there for my kids, and you have 2 other kids. So then when those questions arise, how did you deal with all of that?
So for me, initially, what got me through the initial part was the eternity mindset in the woods. When I thought we were losing her, I thought of all the reasons why it was a good thing. And you know, she gets to meet Jesus first.
Wow.
She's seen nothing but just joy and love in her life. Wow. So that was the initial. Then when I went out to the parking lot, and you know, I see our other 2 kids at the car, and to me, there's nothing more important than our kids knowing and loving Jesus and living for Him. And I just knew, I'm like, it's easy to be a Christian. It's easy to say you follow Christ when things are easy. But when you're tested, that's when your true faith shows. So I had a conversation with them at the car and just said that. You know, I said, look, we serve God no matter what. I don't know what's going to happen, but no matter what, we praise God and we trust Him. And in that moment, our daughter said to me, she's like, Mommy, she said, I've been praying and I really think Mia's going to be okay. Aww. And there was something about, I mean, of course, inside I'm like, please, Jesus, don't
answer these prayers.
Yeah, please answer these prayers and don't break her heart. You know, and if He had, I'd like to think I would have written a book, but it probably would have come 10 years, not just a couple years after the tragedy. Not saying it would have been easy. We are not perfect people, but also to talk about God made us, and He made us with emotions. If you ever read Psalm, it's the whole time David talking about why this, why that. I love you, Jesus. I don't know. You know, He wants that. He wants the relationship with us, just like our spouse. They want to know everything. They want to know when we're mad. They want to know when we're joy. You know, so I think for me, it is a relationship with Jesus Christ. It is a relationship. And so that's what got me through.
Yeah, you know, going all the way back to even the beginning, when we had the strangers that were with our 2 other children, and she has Mia, I'm actually going back and forth between the 2 just to see how they're doing, to give her any instruction from EMS, you know, from the 911 dispatcher that she might need. But in between, I'm definitely the emotional. She was rock solid. It was so inspiring to watch her be just calm mother with Mia, and I'm back and forth literally saying every biblical name of God that I could come up with, crying out to Him, and just prayer was my only defense, right? That's the only thing that I don't need offense. I mean, the only thing that I could do. And ultimately, going back, there was a moment, it's funny in hindsight, but there was a moment when she was at the front of the opening of the trail where I ended up, I was doing the investigation, and she's out there, and this was the first time that I had seen her. She's pacing back and forth. She's extremely emotional, and I thought, this is it. It happened, and I need to go be husband. I need to go be leader of this family, the pastor, you know, and I go to her and she's fine, and she's just like, she's pacing back and forth or whatever.
It's amazing how in times like that God gives you the strength that you at the time probably would have never thought you would have.
No,
but
none of this was me.
Yep.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah,
and
that's profound.
She looks at me and stops me, and for some reason in my mind I remember I felt like she had her hands on my shoulder, but I don't think it was like that. She said, "I need to know, are you good?" She's looking at me, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, what's going on right now?" She's like, "Are you good?" I need to know if you're good with God, because we're about to lose our daughter right now, and I don't want to lose you.
Oh, wow.
And it was a moment, I believe, in that response that we have to be, again, we need to be followers of Christ now, not just when things are great and we're quote unquote blessed, right? But when we have a tragedy that strikes us like this, and we might lose our daughter. So we have 2 other children that we need to raise, and we need to raise them in the Lord, to love them.
We wanted to make sure
what.
that they knew that they were enough.
Yeah.
That was one of my fears.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Yep.
I thought having you guys here for a half hour, we'd be able to get into this story, but I feel like now we've only even touched a little bit, and I am thankful that you guys wrote this book. Why the name rewrite this tragedy?
Well, some of it is from a song I used to listen to back in college, and I've always loved it. But just the idea that God can take any tragedy and rewrite it. And even if you don't have a great ending, I think we can always look back and see how God was with us through it. So majority of this book is just my spiritual journey, talking with God, asking him. We were taking our kids on a hike to enjoy nature and the thing that you created, and then you just turn it upside down. Why'd you let this happen? Like I wrestled with him. It wasn't just, oh God, I trust you. This is, it was wrestling.
Yeah,
I
sure.
struggled.
Tell
a
us real
lot.
quick, where can we find this book?
Anywhere Christian books are sold. Of course, I'd love to point straight to the publisher, Redemption Press.
Redemption
but it's,
Press?
Yeah, it's available on Barnes & Noble. It's available on Amazon. Anywhere you can find
Thank you both,
Christian books.
Mark and Melissa. Appreciate you guys
Thank you.
being
Thank you for
here.
having
God
us.
bless your children. And boy, thank you. This is remarkable. And hug them for me, will you please?
I will.
Thank you. God bless you guys.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with us for Fox 8 Extra. We will see you again next week.